Hello again, and welcome to this social media space. My name is Ixchel Peyrot, and we are conducting this interview so we can get to know better this large community of infant studies researchers. So we are starting these interviews with well-known researchers and supporters of ICIS. And it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Roberta Michnick Golinkoff. Hi,
Hi,
Roberta.
Michelle. Hi.
Last week, I told Dr. Kathy Hirschpasek that both of you are like the pop stars in the
Ah,
world of infant studies.
you want to hear a funny story? Somebody named rats after us.
Okay. And that is why we would like to learn more about you. I know many members are already familiar with your work, but we would like to hear it directly from you about the years you've been doing research, where do you work right now, and the name of your laboratory.
Okay. My lab is the Child's Play Learning and Development Lab, which seems to cover all the bases that I study. I've been in business at the University of Delaware for a long time, and I think ICIS is such a wonderful organization because it's the right size and people are doing research on related problems about infant development and toddler development. And it makes me happy to be able to affiliate with a wonderful and transparent organization like ICIS. I do research in language development, in play, in playful learning, in spatial development, and the effects of media on kids.
And so right now you are in the Hedgehog project, right? Which involves reading books to children. Could you tell us more about this project?
So, Stories with Clever Hedgehog is the name of a website that me and my fantastic team created for Ukrainian children who are either still in the country or in the diaspora. It is half in English and half in Ukrainian. So children, especially those from under-resourced communities, can use Stories with Clever Hedgehog because it has stories, it has music, it has art, it has fun facts. And what is unusual about it is it also has ways to reduce stress for the children and parents who are unfortunately involved in this never-ending war.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm so excited about that is I thought about when I saw Ukrainian kids sitting on suitcases looking totally bewildered. What could I do for them? I could give money, but I could also figure out things that I could offer. So one of the things I wanted to offer that the Jacobs Foundation was kind enough to fund was Stories with Clever Hedgehog. And that's why we're out there.
What could you say? I mean, you talk about do you like to study, play, language development? Do you have like a favorite topic research?
I do research that intersects these areas. One of the studies that I'm particularly excited about is looking at how parents help kids learn concepts. And if parents don't talk to kids, this is something that shocked us in our research. We thought for sure all parents would talk to kids about the objects that we offered and tell children the names of the things that they were playing with. But it turned out that there were a set of parents who didn't say anything to the kids. And of course, the kids had to construct those concepts on their own. So the work that we are doing intersects language development, conceptual development, and linguistics. And that's why it's fun, because it's not in one little area, but because it intersects a whole bunch of intellectual areas. And it rests on the work of other pioneers in the field. For example, Sandy Waxman. We're using her conceptual design study back from 1995 as kind of the basis for how we present our objects in our study.
Oh, okay. That's fantastic.
We all build on each other, Ixchel.
Yeah.
We all use each other's work. That's where it should be. That's how science progresses.
Yeah, totally. And what would you say are the main results of those studies?
So what year is this? 2024.
Yeah.
I would say 50 years ago, I guess that's how we gauge our progress. 50 years ago, we knew far less about babies' capabilities. And we also knew far less about the important role of social interaction in fueling children's development. We always knew attachment relations were important, going back to Bowlby. And of course, I mentioned the work of my colleague, Mary Dozier, who has found ways to teach parents to improve their attachment relationships with their children. But we didn't know how much interacting with children in a sensitive and responsive way builds their cognition, builds their language, and certainly builds their social emotional development. So I think we are acquiring a much more nuanced view of the role that important, significant caregivers play in the life of children. Now, the brain science stuff in the last 10 years has come along. We don't yet understand much of the data that we generate. I heard recently a dissertation defense where I loved the presentation and what they found, but it was not clear what the significance at all of what they found was. However, for example, we are working in the area of brain attunement, which Kathy may have talked about when you interviewed her. And we know how children and parents can function together and how when that happens, it also happens in the classroom. The work of Ido Davidow shows children will learn more successfully when there is that kind of attunement. So we are narrowing in on the problem spaces that we study. Will never be finished. There'll always be additional questions, Ixchel.
Yeah.
It never ends. And that's why I'm so proud to be a member of this community, because we have made great strides in understanding infant development.
And we are lucky to talk with you.
Thank you.
So, what motivated you to start doing infant research?
Oh my God, I love babies. It
Yeah.
sounds strange, but it's true. I can't go out in public and not see a baby or a child I want to interact with. And I think some of it is a respect for how much babies glean from the world, how much they get out of it, and how much I think your average parent who doesn't study child development like we do underestimates until language, then they get it, underestimates what's going on in that little head. And so I would say roughly 50% of what I do is trying to disseminate, to get the word out to parents that it's never too early to talk to kids, to interact with children, to follow up on their queries or even their gaze and their points. They want to know stuff. And we know this from research too.
Yeah.
So I will, if you let me, I'll talk about a study by Katerina Bigas that I love. She asked, why do kids prefer to listen to people who speak their own language rather than another language? And in a very clever experimental design, she figured out that they want to listen to people who speak their language even before they can talk, because they gain information. Yeah. Who would think a pre-verbal baby is making choices about who to listen to because they want to gather information? That's amazing to me. There's no language yet that you hear, but they want to gather information.
And also to build new concepts.
Yes, yes.
So, do you have any advice for the students interested in this field?
Follow your heart. No matter your background, no matter your ethnic or racial identity or gender, study those problems that you consider intriguing and important for human development. In the end, you will be rewarded. Our field kind of goes in cycles, and sometimes what you want to study seems off cycle. But if you have a supportive committee and people who take your ideas seriously, you may start a new area for us.
Yeah. What do you like to do when you are not doing science?
Tennis.
Great. So you are a player in a player team with Kathy?
Actually, no. Kathy and I live about 45 minutes apart, and she has her group and I have mine. And I do tennis, I do yoga, I run. The physical activity is super important to me. And makes a big difference in my life. Everyone has stressful moments and stressful days, and all the research suggests that the way to reduce that is through physical activity. And I certainly will attest to the power of physical activity for reducing stress and also increasing one's feeling of well-being.
That's wonderful. Well, I think that is all. Thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful to have you sharing with us all the work and your words.
May I say one more thing?
Yeah, totally.
People would be lucky to find a collaborator like I have had for the majority of my career, Kathy Hirsch-Pasek. It is so great to have someone who you know for so long, who you can say things to, like, I don't get it. You got to explain it to me. I don't get it. You know, it's so wonderful. And we, in the past, have completed each other's sentences and we've done presentations together. It just makes it fun. The social element in science is not to be underestimated.
Thank you so much. It's a little bit like Vygotsky social theory, right? That you can learn from others.
Yeah, but Piaget said that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.
Sure. Take care, Ixchel. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much.